Alrighty, and welcome everybody. So we're back with another Marvel's Avengers video. Today we got Thor, and let me preference this video with saying Thor is low-key was really hard for me to build. Oh my god, I had to gather so much gear, and it was really hard to build Thor. I came up with two builds I kind of liked, this one, and there was another one which revolved around throwing the hammer a lot. If you guys want to see the hammer build, I don't know if like people are into tossing the hammer, and it can get kind of tedious sometimes. So if you guys are into that, I'll upload that one too. But this is the final one I came up with, and it's by no means perfect. This video's format is going to be the same as the last video's format. So like as far as how I explain everything and how the stats are going to be set up, how the gear is going to be set up, perks. And in case you didn't watch the last video and you're watching this one, I will go over it briefly when we get there. And yeah, guys, hope you guys enjoy. If you guys are watching this video, please drop a like. I'm just trying to get to 5 likes so I can get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. And if you guys can help me out with that, I would greatly appreciate it. And let's get straight into the build. So first things first, just like last time, we're going to go over the hero statistics. Now, you can't see the heroic rating here, but it is over 10,000. That tells you a lot, but not much. So I like to go over the hero statistics better because it just gives you an overview of everything at once. So the first thing is might. We only got 10 might. We would have 0 if Tactagon didn't have 10 on it. So that's where the 10 might's coming from. It's Tactagon. You don't really use your melee that much in this. Like you don't use melee for damage, at least in this build. But we got proficiency sitting at 48, which gives only a 13% crit chance. Now there is another form of this build, and I'll show you with the ISOs where you could have a triple proficiency on. It'll just make your damage buff and your invulnerability buff more reliable to access, and you would not lose out on that much like damage from your heroics because your heroics are already doing so much damage. So if you rolled for more crit chance on this build because of how it's set up, and we'll go over it because of how it's set up, then you wouldn't be in the wrong for that. So yeah, I'll go over it a little bit, guys, to show you guys the options you have with crit chance. And then Valor, this build is mainly focused around heroic damage, so you want as much Valor as you can. And just a side effect of the Valor is 326% crit damage. We have 97 Resolve, which is going to give us 14,000 health. Not that much, guys. That's not that much. And we have Resilience 151, which gives us 34,000 armor. You do have ways to sustain yourself in this build, which is basically accessing an invulnerability buff. And then you'll be using your abilities a lot. You cannot get killed while you're using ability. So yeah, that's going to help you out a lot. No intensity on this build. We're not really going for stun or status damage, nothing like that. So that's it for the hero stats. Let's go ahead and get into the gear. So the first piece of gear we're going to go over is going to be the Van Braces. And like I said before, guys, we're only going to go over the perks on it. You can see the stats up there on the screen. They're going to be there. Just look at them, screen cap them, because you might get, proficiency and Valor on your belt. And like you can move these stats around in any way you want. So it's kind of pointless to go over the stats on it. As long as you have these particular stats in total across your whole build, that's all that really matters. So it's going to be taking up too much time to go over every stat. You guys see the stats on the screen. You know what you're looking for from the hero statistics page, and just work your way towards that. But mainly the perks is what's really keeping this build strong. So we go over the perks in here. So the first perk we got here is Chance Melee Critical Attacks grant a heroic charge burst for all heroics. Now this is why I said you could opt out for more crit chance, because basically what's going to happen is when your heroics are down, you're going to be using your melee crits to build them back up. So if you opt out for more crit chance, this perk will proc more, and you want to get this perk, guys. Very important for this build. This was the best perk I found. I did find an invulnerability buff in the same spot that's triggered with crit chance, but really your heroics make you invulnerable and they do damage, so it's better to just go for heroics when you're going for a heroic build. Now light combo finishers trigger a blast of cryo, doesn't really matter. Increase critical hit chance from unarmed attacks. This is good. So basically what you'll do is when your heroics are down, you're going to throw your hammer on the floor, press R2 to try to get a crit off on somebody to get your damage buff, and you're going to use your unarmed attack since they have a higher crit chance, which will still trigger the first perk on this set. Very good, guys. Make sure you guys roll something extremely similar to this, if not the same. So for the grip, we have chance hitting enemy with a ranged critical attacks grants a damage buff. 36% chance, guys. This is another reason why I said you can opt out for proficiency with this build. I've tried both. The difference in damage is kind of negligible due to how easy it is to access your damage buff. So if you want to do that, I mean, by all means, go ahead and do that. It's going to help you out either way. Whichever way you go, more valor, more proficiency, whichever way, it's going to help you out. But just try to have as much valor as you can and get your crit chance. I would say like 20% is high enough. You know, anything above that is kind of overdoing it. So try to get around 20% if you're going the proficiency route. So anytime you throw the hammer and you press R2, if the R2 strikes somebody with lightning and it still crits, the lightning can actually trigger this buff also. So you have multiple ways of triggering these buffs. Even if you want to throw the hammer and recall it and it hits somebody and it gets a crit, that'll trigger the buff. You know, it's a lot of ways to do it. Second perk doesn't matter what you really roll right there, guys. You're not going to be using it. On the third perk, I accidentally activate this a lot just by throwing the hammer and it hitting the crit. Since your valor is so high, the hammer will still crit for a lot of damage. Sometimes I'm seeing 10,000 pop up. And even on the small guys, like, it's a good chance you kill somebody with it. So this accidentally triggers a lot. I would say not important, like not super necessary, but it does trigger a lot, guys. So let's get on into the next piece. All right, so for our breastplate, we just have another way to access damage buffs. Chance for perfect evading grants a short damage buff. Basically, when you dodge and it goes in slow motion, that's a perfect evade. That has a 23% chance of activating a damage buff. Just an easier way to get to it. If you're like dodging around, even if you're in the sky floating, you dodge something, you can still trigger this. Just an easier way to trigger a damage buff, I guess, if you don't want to just throw your hammer out. It's there. It's not super necessary, but it's there. So for the second perk, we got 27% chance when critically injured to grant a heroic charge burst for all heroics. This is basically when your health gets low and you get hit. Probably like 2 shots will get you in critical, 1 shot maybe. You have a chance of getting a heroic charge burst. It just adds the ability to keep your heroics up better. It's just an extra bonus on top. I mean, you don't want to be getting shot around, so this is just there to help. And then you got shock damage resistance. You can put anything right there, just whatever damage resistance you want. If you roll something better to keep your heroics up, if you roll a damage buff, whatever you get right there to help your build, go with that. All right, so now let's get on to the belt. The belt is probably the most important piece with this build that really keeps it flowing. So the first perk on the belt is going to be stun damage from sprint and evade attacks, whatever. Don't really care about it. Now the second perk is where things really start getting interesting because you have a 13% chance defeating enemies grants a damage buff. So this is a third form of accessing that damage buff. So you got the first one from throwing your hammer and critting. You got the second one from dodging, and then you got this one too, just by killing people has a chance to access it. So you have 3 ways of accessing your damage buff. Really good, guys. The more you can access this buff, the easier you can access it, the better your gameplay is going to be. This thing like doubles your damage. It's really important, guys. And then for the final perk, you got defeat 3 enemies in rapid succession to grant a heroic charge burst. Pretty much any time you use your heroic assault ability where you pick them up, you want to be aiming for more than one person anyway, and it picks up people around you. You're pretty much going to be accessing this every single time you use that ability. You want to be aiming to access this every single time, and this will pretty much get your heroic assault ability back to about 25%, and then you'll be refilling it with the other perks as far as the heroic charge burst, doing melee damage, picking up assault heroic orbs. This will just give you that a burst, you know, for every single one of your abilities, your assault, your heroic, and your ultimate. So this is really good, guys. There's also one right here you can find that as defeat 3 enemies, you get a damage buff. That's really good. If you can find other ways to get the charge burst better, that's really good. There's also one that's defeat enemies to get the invulnerability buff. Also good. Like I said, you're going to be wanting your heroics more than invulnerability because they give you that invulnerability. You can't get hurt in them. Just make sure you have a way to keep your heroics up and make sure you have a way to access your damage buff easily. That's the main things you need for this build, guys. You need to increase your damage as much as possible, as easy as possible. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for the gear. Let's get into the artifacts. Now for the artifacts, I was able to find a triple valor artifact as long as with a double valor artifact. I found these in the vendors. Every day I log in, I check the vendors. One of the days they had a triple valor. I believe one of the days they had a double valor, or I might have found out in the world. But you guys kind of want to aim for these triple stat artifacts because the stat bonus is in like the 90s. It'd be in like 90s to 100. And the double ones you get be like 85, 80. So you get way more stats from these triple ones. And you really want to find these Now, in this slot, I also have a triple proficiency I could slot in, and I have been alternating between the two. I can't really determine what's better, triple proficiency or double valor. So like I would run triple proficiency, triple valor. I can't really determine what's better. You know, just put, if you guys have both of these, if you guys can just like alternate between the two and see which one you like more, or see if you like proficiency more on this build, that's the kind of the route you want to go. I can't really tell which is better, honestly. The damage numbers from my heroics are just so high that it makes me not want to sacrifice any damage. So, you know, it's up to you guys which one you prefer more. I personally have kept the Valor ones on, but I have switched between the two. So it's up to you guys which you prefer more. Either opt out for a little more crit. Like I said, don't really go above 20%. Or just go with pure Valor. It's really up to you guys. You'll still be hitting crits. You'll still be doing hella damage. So it's like whichever one works easier for you guys is the one you want to go with. And then for our major artifact, of course, we got Tactagon, like always. Tactagon's really, really good. But with this build, you could go with the Ring of Nibelung. I don't know how to pronounce it. You could go with the ring. You know, if you want to go with the ring over Tactagon, sacrifice a little damage for a more reliable uptime on your heroics. That is perfectly fine, guys. There's nothing wrong with just going for the ring. So it's up to you guys which one you prefer. And that pretty much does it for the gear. Now let's get into the skills because we got a lot to talk about here. Yo, so we're here in the skills page. So you'll be level 50, max power level 150 when you try to build. That's what I recommend to all you guys. Don't waste your mats. Just wait till you get to max. You know, I've been able to get characters maxed out in 2 days, so it's not that hard. Getting to 150 it takes like a whole fucking week. But as far as anything else goes, make sure you guys are max level. And then for your specialty, there's something really, really, really important, guys, with Thor. I don't know if I'm the only one experiencing this, but you see this right here. Very important ability for keeping up your heroics. Enemies defeated while Warrior's Fury is active have a 50% chance to drop a heroic orb. This does not work, okay? So watch. Warrior's Fury. My Warrior's Fury is going to last for 10 seconds. I'm going to put it on, right? So, okay, these guys right here, I'm going to grab them. He just died. He just died. Boom. We're going to shock him. Okay, so we just killed all these people. And not one single heroic orb came out of them. And it's not just like, oh, you just got unlucky. Nah, it's not that, guys. This never worked for me. The only reason I came to test it was because I've never seen it work. So I don't know if it's just my game, guys, but this is glitched for me. Really, really unfortunate. And I hope it's not glitched for you guys. So I'm going to have to go here with this one. So yeah, there's that. That really sucks for my build, but whatever. So right here, guys, just choose whatever you want. None of them really benefit too much, but it's for your team, really. Just choose whichever one you want. Right here, man, fuck, shit sucks, but whatever. Hell's Anger, I guess, more crit chance and crit damage, whatever. I don't really know what to say about that, guys. That really sucks. Right here, you guys are gonna go God Blast inflicts 20% more damage and implies cryo. So what applies cryo? So what that'll do is when you're lifting them up in the tornadoes, you'll be applying cryo damage to them, and it slows them all down in case they don't die. I'm pretty sure you'll kill them all, but in case they don't die, it'll slow them down. It'll apply cryo to them, which will allow Tactagon to proc, which then when you do the final hit of the God Blast, more damage. So yeah, this works really good with this build. Make sure you guys have this one on. And then for right here, God Blast inflicts 20% increased damage when triggered while overcharged. You'll be overcharged when coming out of the Bifrost, and you'll be overcharged with your support. So just 20% extra damage. Really good, guys. Make sure you have that one on. Right here, let me go over something real quick with you guys. There's this thing in the game called Battery Effect. So basically the 3 warm effects, so like Cosmic, Plasma, and Pim Particles. And then you have your cool effects, which are going to be Shock, Cryo, and Gamma Radiation. So whenever you have one of the warm effects mixed with one of the cool effects applied to a target, it'll pretty much double your damage. It'll make every hit do a weak point hit, so you don't have to really aim for the head. You can just hit them. So this double damage applies after your crit damage, your crit chance. So if you're critting for 40,000 and you apply a battery effect to somebody, you'll be critting for 80,000. You get me? So This circle is going to apply that battery effect to everybody in it, simply because your abilities are doing shock damage and the Bifrost is dealing plasma damage. So they're going to mix together and it's just going to be like stupid damage. That's why you see the yellow numbers popping up. You really want to save this for bosses, big ass rooms of enemies, adaptoids, stuff like that that you need to melt down fast, and it's going to do stupid damage. And then also, guys, you want to wait till that circle of the Bifrost turns red to do the more increased damage. You get me? So now over here we got automatically activate overcharge. So like I said, this is going to overcharge you, make you do more damage. Mandatory. So right here, very important, guys. Light and heavy attacks boost your heroic ability meters. So basically hitting an enemy with a light or a heavy will just refund energy to your heroics. Really important for getting them back up once they're down. Make sure you guys are running that. Then we got increased damage from unarmed attacks. Basically, that was the best one out of those. You will be unarmed sometimes just because, like I said, throw your hammer, punch people with your melee and get the crit hits in. So you will be unarmed sometimes. And then take down, spawn a heroic orb. Of course, that's pretty obvious. So for range, you actually don't need none of them. It doesn't matter where you go here. The only one that matters is here. Increase the chance a hammer will inflict critical attacks on return flight by 35%. Really important. So when you're recalling the hammer and it hits somebody, it'll crit, and this has a chance to proc your damage buff, and it's procced my damage buff for me plenty of times. Really important, guys. Make sure you're running that. So for intrinsics, we got every damage. Damaging an enemy while holding Odin Force will recover 1.2% willpower per hit. So this actually means melee damage. I can't get it to work with nothing but melee damage, but it's really good in case your health gets low, guys, to just go up to somebody and start punching on them and refill it. Really, really good. Make sure you guys are running that one. Takedowns grant 30 points of intrinsic energy. This will just keep your intrinsic bar up. This will allow you to hold R2 longer. And then right here you got when overcharged, surrounding enemies will be struck by lightning. So basically you're going to be overcharged quite often. This is going to be really useful in doing extra damage, stunning enemies, allowing you to do more crits to them with electricity. Really important, guys. Then you got right here, charged heroic. Increases heroic energy regeneration when Odin Force is overcharged by 10%. So like I said, you're going to be overcharged a lot, guys. So going to be fairly easy to allow this to kick in, and you just want to keep your heroics up as much as possible, and this is going to assist with that. So make sure you guys are running that. And then last but not least, increase all damage by 15% when Odin Force is over. Like I said, you will be overcharged quite often, so this is going to give you 15% extra damage while you're overcharged. And that's pretty much it for the build, guys. It really does suck that I do have that glitch for the heroic orbs, because if yours works, basically your rotation would be press L1 in a big group of enemies, and then hold your R1 until everything dies. It's going to spawn you a bunch of orbs. It's going to refill your abilities, and boom, you're going to keep going like that. Just keep rolling through people like that. But for me, it doesn't work. I don't know if your guys' works. I'm playing on PS4. I'm not sure. Let me know, guys. If you guys don't want to see the build in action, I do appreciate you guys coming by, stopping by the channel. Drop a like for me, guys. I'm trying to get sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. And yeah, a like will help out with that, guys. And I really do appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me. And y'all have a wonderful day if you're not going to continue. But if you are, let's get into the gameplay of the video. Alright, so here we are. This is level 165. Brutal difficulty, of course. You're going to be playing on nothing else. So you're going to throw your hammer out. There, boom. Damage buff already triggered just by a few crits. And you see how much damage the hammer is doing. Like, it's not too shabby. So you kill everybody with that shit, boom. And then your heroics are recharging. Now my heroic assault is down, but it's at like 25%, like I said, because of that charge burst. I'm gonna get shot. Okay, that hurts. What the shit? Okay. This game has a few bugs, alright guys? Alright, don't go crazy. So big dude just came down. Our damage buff is up, and we got the increased damage from the Bifrost. Boom, look at that. 300,000 damage. He is no longer with us, and then like look, damage buff popped back up. It's gone now. And yeah, guys, you see the yellow numbers. Pretty shit. Yeah, pretty disgusting shit, guys. Like, and then you come over here. I like to just come over there and just use my melee because it's gonna the melee crits will recharge. And then look how fast my heroics are recharging from having the... What the hell? This game be tripping, alright, man? Alright, don't judge them. They're not a AAA developer. Alright, so we're just gonna do a quick one. Boom. They're all gonna die. Come over here, hold the panel. Yeah, guys, really easy shit. I didn't even use my L1 for the more. That would have been increased damage on top of the increased damage, so I ended up not even having to use it there in this beginning part. But you can, especially if your thing works where you get the orbs back. That shit is pretty fucking OP. Like, it'll spawn hella orbs for you guys. So unfortunately, mine does not work. And that's pretty much it to it. So yeah, guys, if you guys like this build, let me know in the comments below. If you don't like it, like I said, it took a long time, you know, and I wasn't too happy with the end result. You know, I wanted to go something more like melee focused, just electricity everywhere, everything dying. But in end game, realistically, this is like one of the best builds I've came up with for Thor. I also have another one, pretty much just like tossing the hammer and pressing R2 and just killing everything, getting your heroics up. It's pretty solid, but you're not going to see 300,000 damage like you just seen right now. So there's that. But if you guys like this video, please drop a like on the video, guys. Please show some support to the channel. Subscribe if you guys really like it. You know, it all helps out, and I appreciate every single form of support that y'all have been giving me. You know, comments, I like them all. I try to reply to all of them. I appreciate everything, guys, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for everything, and y'all have a wonderful day. Peace out.